Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from the Hotel West End in beautiful Nice. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, HOKA Let's Fly, deboer wetsuits, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Quintana Roo, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. A gentleman who has decided to move from triathlon into boxing. He joins us right now, Mr. Matt Hanson. What the hell? What's going on here?
It's yeah. You know, sometimes you have that perfect lead into a race. This is not one of those situations. And
What'd you do?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a brush in with the back end of a car here on Saturday. Just one of those things that you can't control really, and you just got to try to put the pieces together, get the bike ready to roll again, and hopefully feel a little bit better come race day.
So as somebody, because we interviewed you, I think down at Clash Miami somewhere, right after another thing like this happened. Since it's happened to you, 3 times now? Something like that, maybe more. Are you starting to assess when you're on the ground going, okay, I think I'm all right. Arms, legs, what?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing you do is you pop up and check the bike usually, and then you worry about how you're feeling. So
the bike's okay.
We'll piece it back together. QR is going to be out here on Wednesday with a few extra parts for me to get it back rolling. I mean, it's rideable right now, but I don't want to take any pictures of it because it's a couple pieces got kind of dinged off.
Well, also rideable with 8,000 feet of climbing is two different ball games.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have her ready to roll by race day.
Okay. Yeah. You seem like you're able to flow with that stuff because it's part of. You've been doing it. It's not like your first rodeo.
Yeah. There's no point stressing about it.
Yes.
It happened. You gotta figure out how to just get the body as good as you can come race day. And I mean, Sunday everything felt great. The day after, not great, but everything felt fine. I did the practice swim.
No problem.
And took a little while to feel or to not be thinking about it. Did a pretty hard run afterwards, which went fine. And today wasn't so much the case. So I got to go try to get things to settle down again.
Find a physio.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've got that appointment here next. So,
okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
Got some good people here that were able to help me out, and we'll get the body taken care of and do what I can to get on the start line.
So at Ironman Texas, the same type of thing, right? So were you overtaking somebody because a multi-loop course?
Yeah, it was a 2-loop bike course, and it was right after an aid station, and I think one of the age groupers on the back end of the bike course was trying to sort his bottles
while he was moving
forward, and ended up falling over literally right in front of me. So, again, one of those situations where you didn't have any time to react, and I went straight up over the top of him. I think the bike stayed clipped in and landed on top of me. So again, it was completely fine, but I wasn't able to keep going that day, and it was a frustrating one for me because that's been a race that's really been important to me throughout the course of my career, and I was in a good spot on the bike, and but that's racing, and it makes you appreciate the good days a little bit more. I don't think I've had that good day yet this year.
It's Placid looks pretty good.
Yeah, Placid. We were
241, third place. That's 809. Nothing wrong with that.
It was a late ad. After Hamburg kind of went south as well for me. I decided to head to Placid just to get to a finish line, and it was early on in the build, so it was a little bit of unknown of what kind of fitness I had going in there.
Right.
And had a solid day overall. Nothing spectacular about it. It was just a good swim, good bike, good run.
Right.
And Joe and Ben just were better on the day.
Right.
So I mean, it was a good kind of start to the second half of the season, and hopefully we can get back and get rolling here into the race on Sunday.
Well, and you had a good race at Challenge Puerto Varas, and got second there and sixth at 70.3 St. George.
Yeah. I mean, they're all fine. They were fine. I just haven't had, we're really
you haven't
good
had your race yet.
Yeah, we're really good at assessing how our days went, and, whether, you can win a race and have a terrible day still. if as long as you're realistic about it and still
Yes.
trying to learn and everything moving forward, but I haven't felt got to the finish line and felt
Yes.
like, yep, I executed that day really well. We've got to be very process oriented here. Otherwise you don't learn from the if you get a good result and a bad process, that's not a great thing either. So you got to still be able to learn from those experiences. And when you have a good day and don't get the result that you want,
Yes.
that can be telling as well. So, we've got to stay process oriented, and I haven't had that perfect execution day or close enough to the perfect
Right.
execution day yet this year. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're 38 years old? Are you still improving?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
That's what's so cool about this sport. Is that you can keep improving. 35, 40. Jan Frodeno just wins in Milwaukee against all these 20-year-olds.
Yeah. People counting him out, that was a huge mistake.
Never do that.
Yeah, and obviously same for the weekend here, but
Exactly.
I mean, I definitely still think I have a lot of bright days in front of me, and just got to keep chipping away, showing up, doing the job, and they'll come.
So, do you have a bunch of Matt Hanson coached athletes racing here?
We only have a couple here this year. We have a few in Kona, a few here, had
Yeah.
a few in Finland as well. But being a little bit more spread out makes it.
That's harder.
Yeah, we're a little bit more. Last year with everything in Kona, we had. And a lot of people deferred from previous years. I think we had a group of about 20 there last year. So this year we've got 3 or 4 here and then 3 or 4 there.
So sometimes when you have 20 in one place, that's besides trying to prep for your own race, you're the therapist for 20 other people.
No, they're all great. They we get a little bit of FaceTime. Then we've done the work and prepped everything ahead of time, so they're usually pretty good about letting me. The last day and a half are kind of I shut the phone off and just
do your own thing.
Yeah.
So with this race being this is a very unique course for a world champion. I mean, St. George was a unique course with a lot of climbing and descending and different weather issues with the cold in May at the Worlds last year. This is I don't think we've ever had anything like this. Obviously, first time in international Ironman World Championship, 8,000 feet of climbing. Very, a lot of tough climbing, and then you've got that plateau and then downhills where you got to watch your speed. So I know you like the climbing part.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some parts of this course that favor me well. I'm pretty decent watts to kilo, so climbing wise, I think I'll do all right. I don't have the descending skills that a lot of the other guys do, and I know that, so I just have to plan the day accordingly and be a little bit more aggressive in different parts than I typically would be. And it's a very flow-based run. So if you do your job nutrition-wise and be able to get onto the run with something left in the tank, you can just really get into a groove.
You really can.
And, it's not
it's
like
a fast run.
It could be.
It could be depending on heat and depending on how much you lose on a bike.
Yeah, a lot of we're on the bike for 30 minutes more
easily.
And then there's going to be a lot of people probably overextending themselves to try to stay together because it's a championship race. I'm kind of hoping the whole race gets blown up and people are much more individual efforts.
That really helps you, right? Because you're going to be running through, and if those guys are all spread out doing their own thing, there's less chance. It's really hard to work together in this course, anyways. But the more spread out they are, the better it is for you.
Yeah, I mean, if they're together at the top of the main climb, then on the plateau, there's going to be a big benefit of the group dynamic. But, most of the other places, it's not a huge benefit. So it'll just be interesting to see how it all shakes out. There is a roadmap to, me being in the front portion of the race by the end. It's not going to be easy, but it's a world championship. It shouldn't be. I've got to go out and execute a good day.
So last year was in 2022. You won Des Moines, right? You won Des Moines. You got second at 70.3 Chattanooga. You got second at Puerto Veras. Second at Arizona. Second Arizona. 15th in Kona. That's a great year. That's a long ass year. I'm looking at this. Wait a second. He did Collins Cup. He did PTO US Open. All that different stuff.
Yeah, last year was probably the heaviest race year I had, having the additional world championship there. And then the full Ironman coming to Des Moines was one I couldn't miss, being, you know, spending so much of my adult life in Iowa. So, you know, it was good to go race the world championships in May in St. George. It went okay. I couldn't be too upset about that. And then, being able to take the win in Des Moines was pretty special. Pretty having a lot of family there. My wife and sister both raced then as well. So, those are the, you know, moments you live for, and you know that you're always chasing, and you know why you kind of keep, you know, if the body's feeling good at the end of the season, I'm all right throwing another race on to try to get one more opportunity to chase that moment.
The one that impressed me the most was Arizona, the 235. I mean, that's Matt Hanson.
Yeah, it was
at his best.
I lost a little bit too much on the bike, unfortunately, and you know, had a lot of work to do, and I didn't move into, you know, I was there for one reason, to get at that point I thought it was a Kona slot, but to get a world championship qualification, and you know, so I had to go out and run aggressively, and I didn't move into the you know, to the Kona spot at that time until mile 21, and then I was able to catch Ben about a mile later, I think. Maybe I caught them both right around the same time, but they made me work for it. But I was happy to come out of there with a well-executed day overall, and you know, get the slot early, and I was able to, you know, make reservations here the day they announced the race, and so I'm down by the expo. I've never been this close to a race site before, especially at a big race, so it just makes everything a lot less stress.
Look at you, man. I love that. With all the racing, how many fulls did you do last year? Kona, Arizona, St. George, Des Moines. So 4.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty typical.
Yeah, I'm happy with 4. I've done 5 a couple times, but then you obviously doing a lot fewer of the 70.3s.
Do you find that you almost get into a rhythm a little bit? For someone like yourself, having too much of a gap without racing is tough on you?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of all started when I was in Iowa, doing pretty much everything alone.
Right.
Having, you know, I was training mostly indoors over the winter, doing all my swimming, biking, and running completely alone. So having that race really gave me a carrot, you know, a social aspect, a little bit of a break from the solo monotony of anything else. And, you know, I love racing. I love, you know, that's why I do this.
Yes.
You know, we won't always be able to race this many times in the season, but you know, as long as I'm healthy and fit, I want to find a start line. So you know, I like to try to get fit, race 3 or 4 times, and then take a break, then do the whole thing over again. Do that twice a year.
Did it change for you when you're dealing with COVID and there was no racing? It's like, hey, if this comes back, man, I'm racing every chance I get.
Yeah, definitely. I was on every single start line. You know, as soon as things started opening up in 2020, went to, you know, some people threw some, you know, small prize money at local races just to allow us to work. So yeah, I mean, I went to. You know, the Bear Lake Brawl and you know, some of those smaller races, and it was great just to be back and, you know, a reminder of, you know, doing what we love. And then, like, you know, Zwift had an e-race series which was a lot of fun and just a different style, and just kind of shook it up a little bit and made things a little bit enjoyable. You know, gave you something to push for.
It used to be people would come into sort of the iron distance when they're in their 30s. You know, Jan Fredette people will go through ITU, et cetera. Now, these guys are all in their early 20s, bringing all this raw speed, no need to recover, right? Yeah. It's a great era because we've got some really fast people coming in, and not necessarily just from the ITU. They're coming in because they want to do Ironman, they want to do PTO races, they want to do 70.3, they want to do challenge. Lots of options as a pro, good prize money options, but also it's you're 38 and these guys are 23.
Yeah, I went from being in my prime to being the old man in the circuit overnight, it seemed like. And it was really after Kona last year.
Yeah.
You know, the statistic, I don't remember the exact numbers, but the average age of the top 5 in Kona in 2019, when it was Jan and T.O. and Ben, you know, it was 34, 35.
Yeah.
And last year it was, you know, mid to high 20s. So,
Yes.
you know, I went from being, you know, I'm coming into the prime to everybody kind of saying, oh, you know, how does it feel being the old guy on the
Wait,
start
what?
line? But
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I came to the sport really late, so my triathlon age is
still very young.
Yeah, is younger than my physical age. So I think I've got a lot of good years in front of me.
Well, and also I think that the fact that you're a coach and you're sort of walking the walk
Yep.
is an important part of your success of your coaching business, right? Because people see that you love it, for one, and that you're out there doing it every weekend you can.
Yeah, I mean, I've never hid the fact I've had 2 goals since I quit my job as a college professor. You know, one is to win a world championship as an athlete, and the other is to coach somebody to win a world championship. And,
Yes.
you know, I've got plenty of time for the coaching part of it, but, you know, I've got to build things up and have, you know, that infrastructure in place, so when I need that to be, you know, my future, that
Right.
it's there. I don't have to have, you know, 2 or 3 transition years as I
Exactly.
try to build that up. So it'll be there for me to, you know, put 100% of my attention in there. And, you know, in the meantime, I'm enjoying helping the athletes who put their trust in me, and then, you know, I've got a decent amount of assistant coaches to help as well.
If somebody had told you when you're like leaving being a professor that you're going to travel the world, you're going to have such a great time, you're going to see places you never thought you'd see, race against, you know, people who are eventually going to be Hall of Famers in the sport, that would have been a pretty cool dream when you left your job.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't plan on doing this when I was going through school.
Yeah.
And, you know, got married. This wasn't the lifestyle that my wife thought we were going to live, but she's been behind it full support. And, you know, like, you know, I decided to leave the university when I won the first North American Championship in 2015, and I wanted to be able to look back at the end of my career and know if I had what it took, or
Yes.
you know how successful I could be in the sport,
Yeah.
rather than wonder what if, and, you know, if have any regrets about not being full in. And you know, thankfully it's been working out pretty well, and I've been able to at least pay for the next year of racing.
So I remember the great race you had down at it was either Daytona. It was Daytona.
Yep.
Yeah, where that was like at that point the biggest prize purse.
Yep.
Still might be.
Yeah, it was a good day.
That was a great day.
Yeah.
Is there 1 or 2 other races that you look at and goes, that was Matt Hanson at his best?
Yeah, I mean, Texas in 2018 was a pretty big day for me. I basically got out, you know, I'd won the race twice already, and then got off the bike with a group of really good runners, and one of them decided to sit in my back pocket for 25 and a half miles
Yes.
before I finally, you know, that was before I had carbon shoes, and I ran a 2:34 mid,
Wow.
which at the time was the fastest marathon off the bike. But, you know, that's been broken a number of times now. But, you know, that was even before carbon shoes were a thought.
What, as a pure runner, how much of a difference do the carbon shoes make?
I think it makes a fair bit of difference. You know, everybody's a little bit different depending on your stride. But yeah, they're definitely worth the investment
Yes.
for those that are wondering or sitting on the fence.
Nice. Any problem with your goggles and stuff with your?
They weren't leaking too bad on the side. I was a little. They
And
didn't
the
hurt at all.
salt, too. I
But
would be
yeah, I
worried
was a
about
little concerned about how they would seal. But
Yes.
through the practice race, it was all right. So hopefully by the race day, we'll be all set.
So Matt, we need to put you in bubble wrap
I
for the
guess,
next couple
yeah,
days
yeah.
just to get you to the start line.
Yeah, me and the bike.
I love it. Matt Hanson, thank you so much for always being so generous with your time.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
Matt Hanson has been our guest again. Breakfast with Bob from Hotel West End. Hold on. We will be right back.